Beauty comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, and forms. My life is about bringing out that beauty in everything and helping others do the same. Hello everyone, my name is Jewel, the owner, designer, and creator behind Shabby Boutique. If you want to see how I make my creations, the products I use, and how you can create your own home decor from new, thrifted, or found items, then keep watching.
Okay, for this project, I'm taking this, I can't think of what you call it. I apologize. I get tongue-tied sometimes, and I can't think words. What would you call it? I don't know. A thing. Anyway, we're gonna use some Apothecary paint, and we're gonna paint this up. I love this brush because with the little points, you can get into all those little nooks and crannies. Although I don't necessarily like, on something like this that has a lot of detail, I don't necessarily like full coverage. I do like having a little bit of the dark showing through in the crevices and stuff, just to give it, you know, that old world feel, like, you know, paint's a little chippy, it's been around the block a few times. Plus it helps keep some of the detail. And I like, excuse me, I like kind of pouncing it on. Oops. Actually, the center part I'm going to do white, so I probably shouldn't have painted that part. But, oh well. I can go over it, and it'll be okay. And I think I mentioned this earlier, that I do, if you're in the St. Louis, Missouri area, I do carry DIY paint at the Painted Tree in Baldwin, Missouri. It's in Old Town Plaza. And in my booth, I also carry IOD and Sweet Pickins milk paint, and Klingon brushes, and a bunch of other DIY stuff. So for anyone that's looking for their DIY fix, gonna revamp some furniture or do some thrift flips, you now can get it locally. I also have a booth in the Maplewood, Missouri Painted Tree, and I will be getting DIY paint in there soon. I do have the Sweet Pickins milk paint, and I do have IOD, IOD products and stuff in there. When I will have all the new release stuff coming in as well. All right, we're gonna set that aside to dry. Make sure I kind of get inside the little handles a little better. Like I said, not necessarily looking for perfection. All right. Okay. So for the center section, I'm going to grab my artist brush, be right back. Okay, for this part, since I want to be a little more precise, I'm going to go ahead and use my artist brush. And this is DIY White Swan. And I am just going to paint this part in. Flip over and do this side. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, or if it's just me, but I have noticed that when I put DIY paint on really thick in areas and use a heat gun on it, that I don't know if you can see that, but it actually gives a little bit of a crackle, which I really like, which is why I like milk paint too. Okay, another coat, and then I will set this aside to dry. Now again, normally I am more precise because I do have OCD, and I am a perfectionist, and so usually I am very detailed with when I'm painting and stuff. But for this particular piece, I wanted it to look, again, more old world, more kind of like it's been around. The paint is not like the paint has flaked off, or, you know, and so it's not perfection. But it's not perfection by design, if that makes any sense. I will touch up a few areas with the Apothecary though. There's a few areas I didn't want the paint to get, and I will touch that up. I will go ahead and touch up those little areas that I did not want the paint to get. Okay, so that's what it looks like. As you can see, it kind of has that little bit of chippy look because it's not completely covered. And we will set that aside to dry all the way. And I like that this piece, I don't know if you can see that, but it does have a good texture to it already. So it almost kind of gives the paint a crackly look anyway. So we'll set that aside. Okay, next we are going to work on this again. It's the next day, so it's completely dry. I'm going to use the Spring Melody Paint Inlay. Oh, and by the way, the color, I remember I couldn't remember if it was Farm Fresh or Apothecary that was this color. It is Apothecary. Pretty good match. Anyway, so on one side, I think I'm going to put this little bunny here. And I think on the other side, I'm going to put the adorable ones here. I think that would be really pretty. Although I am tempted to do the green, the olive one. But I think I'm going to stick with the same color palette. Yeah, I think I'll stick with the same color palette. All right. Scissors. All right. Okay, so I have my two images. And I am going to grab my White Swan by DIY. And my artist brush. May not completely fit on there, but we will get enough of it on there that it will fit. Make sure I have a decent amount of paint on there for it to adhere to. Then I will mist it. Okay, just a light mist on the paint side. Then I will center that. Push it into that wet paint. Just a light mist, not too much. Just try to push it down since there's that ridge there. And remember, when you're doing paint inlays, you can tell the difference on the side. The side with the grid, that's the side you want up, and the side with the paint is what you want down. All right, just want to dry it a little bit so that I don't, there we go. Set that aside to dry, and then I will do the other side. When I'm working on projects and I don't necessarily want to clean out my paintbrush every time, I will take a paper towel and mist it, and then I will take my paintbrush and wrap it in a wet paper towel. And that will keep it moist until I'm ready to use it again. Okay, this is completely dry, but just to be on the safe side, just to be on the safe side, I wanted to do that. And then you're going to spritz it with a little water. And I will just take a paper towel, just kind of dab off the excess. Let that set for a few seconds so that it releases. And then slowly pull away. And look at that. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. Set this aside to dry, and then you could probably get at least one more impression out of that. Like I said, every time you use a paint inlay, it will lighten every time you use it, but you can get a second one out of there. Oh my gosh, that came out so pretty. Look at that. Oh yeah. All right, so I'm gonna hit this with the heat gun, just so you kind of re-wet it a little bit when you misted it, just to make sure it's not wet, so that I can flip it over and put the other one on the other side. I'm going to grab my little paintbrush that I put in the wet paper towel. And I'm going to put a good coat of paint, just like on the other side. Oh, and by the way, I remembered what these are called. Finials. Alright. So we have a good coat of paint on there. And then I will just dampen this a little bit. And then decide where I want it. Right there, looks good. Now, on this one, I'm only going to push it into the paint where there is actual paint on the paper. I'm not going to do the whole section or the whole piece of paper. Like I said, just the part where the paint is. And that helps you keep from getting those straight lines around the edges. Dampen it just a little bit. Rub it into the paint. You just want to make sure that there is a good bond with that paper. Sometimes you will get little air bubbles. And you can just push them out, and then you can absorb any of the excess. All right, and then again I will set this aside to dry. And I probably, since this is a rounded surface, I probably should have put like little cuts so that I didn't get these wrinkles. But I don't mind the wrinkles. I think they're fine. All right, now that this is dry, again, I'm just gonna hit it with the heat gun just to double check to make sure everything is dry. All right. Also, for some reason, I think when you heat it up like that, I think it kind of helps a little bit. when you pull it back. Anyway, so I'm going to spray it with a little bit of water. Let it set for a minute. Rub it in. Pull away the excess. Grab a corner and start slowly pulling it back. Yes, that is so stinking cute. All right, then I'm gonna go ahead and dry that. All right, I need to touch that up where a little bit of the paint, I got a little too much water there, so a little bit of the paint kind of seeped out in the wrinkle, but that's okay because I need to do some touch-ups anyway. I'm going to start with a little bit of touch-up on the blue. Okay, that looks good on that side. And then and again, that's Apothecary. And then I'll grab another little paintbrush and touch up where that paint bled underneath the wrinkle. And you can't even tell anymore. All right, I'm gonna let all that dry. And then once that dries, we will wax the entire piece. Okay, now I'm going to seal this, including the paint inlays, with some DIY clear wax. I get the big wax and then I just refill a little bit in this jar. Since it's all natural, you don't want to contaminate it. So I go through it pretty quickly, you know, just by filling it about halfway. So I know everybody usually uses clear coat to seal their paint inlays, but you can seal them with wax. And if you seal them with wax, sorry, again, working and talking, sometimes difficult. Anyway, if you do seal them with the wax, you have less chance of it smearing and bleeding. So, and I just use cheap little stencil brushes for smaller items like this. I have more expensive, bigger brushes for like all my furniture and stuff. And look at that, a chunk of glitter. All right, I will get it after the wax dries. You can get into all the nooks and crannies with a smaller brush like this. And I like the fact that you can tell with the DIY paint where you have waxed and where you haven't, because the paint darkens as you go. So with DIY paint, it will dry a light color. When you top coat it or wax it, it turns dark. And then when it is actually dried and cured, it will actually be a color kind of in between. Also, as you wax DIY paint, sometimes it will kind of turn a little translucent. Kind of like when it's wet, how you can see through it sometimes and you think, oh man, I'm going to need another coat. And then as soon as it dries, because of the clay, you can't see through the paint, which is why sometimes you can get away with one coat coverage and just maybe do a couple of touch-ups. Bad thing about the cheap little stencil brushes is they do have a tendency to shed a lot while you're doing it. Alright, then I will take a clean cloth, which it's just stained, but it is clean, but a nice lint-free cloth. And then I am just going to go around and remove the excess wax. And then for the final touch, I'm going to take that same gold wax that I used before on the picture frames. The Eternal Prima redesign gold wax. And since I had some left over, I'm going to go ahead and highlight a little bit of gold here and there. Just to give it a little bit of depth and interest and bring out those details, because it has a lot of gorgeous details. And if you get any gold wax on any places that you don't want it, all you have to do is take a little bit of clear wax and wipe it right off. And then for the top, I'm just taking the bulk of the wax at the top, just kind of dragging it down a little bit. So you can see most of the gold at the top. And then it kind of fades down. Okay, I think I got it all. And again, if it doesn't come off, a little clear wax and it comes right off. Okay, and that is done. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this project. It was a lot of fun. This was more of a quick flip, just some paint and a little bit of gold wax and a paint inlay. But it still came out adorable, I think. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. I also wanted to let you guys know that if you are in the St. Louis, Missouri area, I do have all 3 products now in both of my Painted Tree booths. There is a Painted Tree Boutiques located in Maplewood, Missouri, and one located in Baldwin, Missouri. If you've never been to a Painted Tree, it is a bunch of vendors or artisans or whatever you want to call us under one roof. So it's kind of like going to a mall, but you only have to go to one building and you don't have to like walk hundreds of miles to get everything you need. It's all under one roof. But in the Painted Tree locations, I do have the Sweet Pickins Milk Paint and all of their products, top coats, waxes, etc. I also carry the DIY paint, cottage color, painterly paints, all the waxes, top coats, etc. And then I also carry IOD. I carry all the molds, all the, transfers, all the stamps, the inks and the clay and everything. Basically, whatever you need for a DIY project, you can pretty much get in my booth. I carry the brushes, both Klingon brushes, basic brushes, the DIY brushes. Like I said, I pretty much carry everything in my booth. So if you are in the St. Louis area and would like to make that purchase, come on over, and if you have any questions, you can contact me. If there's something that you go to my booth and I don't have in stock, or if you call me and ask if I have something in stock. If I don't have it in stock, then I will be more than happy to order it for you if I can. And I can also tell you if I have something in stock and which store. If you are not local to the St. Louis area, then you can go to the Shabby Boutique 2 TOO.etsy.com and you can purchase all the DIY supplies there. If you would like to purchase any of my handmade items, you can go to theshabbyboutique.etsy.com to purchase those there. Again, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram. You can follow me here if you like. Again, I don't know, posting wise. Hoping things are starting to slow down a little bit. So I should hopefully be posting a little more regularly. I guess I bid you a good day, and I will see you soon.
Let me know what you think of this project, and if you have any questions or something in particular you would like to see me make, or a product in particular you would like to see me use, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you ever so much for watching, and until we meet again, have a most serendipitous day. Hugs to all. Love, Jewel.